What's good, everybody? I'm the Rage Trick God, back again with another unpopular opinions video, or Rage's Rants. You guys know how we do these videos. I read y'all's unpopular opinions, and I give my thoughts on them. So let's just begin, shall we? I think Wilds was a really good season. Is Wilds a good season? You can feel free to think it's a good season. I don't think they did it very well. I'm sure, I saw this video from Clark Clint, by the way. He talks about when it comes to, good seasons or bad seasons, it's more relating to, building versus no building rather than the comp versus casual communities. I'm sure for building, this season was great. It probably was. Maybe it was. I know, most people can agree that, the middle of the map, I believe most people didn't really like because the trees, you couldn't really destroy them, and it didn't let you even build in some places. The mud was an interesting idea. I like those little slurp plants that they also had. The bomb and stink plants were an interesting idea. It was okay. Not my favorite, personally. Taylor Swift should be added to Fortnite as a skin. And in the replies, this person actually says that this is probably the most unpopular opinion I could have. But you're not wrong. Taylor Swift being in Fortnite, I feel like because of, the stereotype of, the Swifties and all that. Not people who genuinely like listening to Taylor Swift. I'm talking about those stereotypical Swifties that you hear online about. Those specific people. I feel like with Taylor Swift being a skin, that if they don't do it perfectly, Epic is probably going to be out of docks or something like that, which is not going to be a very good thing. Taylor Swift, I've heard a few things about her not being the best person or whatever, blah blah blah. But that's not what we're talking about though. Could she be a skin in Fortnite? She absolutely could. Would she? I feel like Epic is somewhat thinking about it. But I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. And also because of the way they've been doing these festival skins and all that, it's not like Chapter 2 Season 7 where they release two new music artists in the same season like Ariana and J Balvin. Because Karol G is the festival skin, she has the spotlight and it's not going to be given to anybody else until the next festival season, so maybe we could see Taylor Swift. Who knows? 1. I thought everybody agreed that Chapter 4 Season 2 was bad, but over the last few months, I've seen lots of people saying they love it, and in my opinion, it wasn't very good. And 2. Chapter 2 is the greatest chapter ever. This is a common thing that I have been seeing a lot more recently. Although Chapter 2 Season 2, I'm going to use that as an example here. I think at the moment, there were although this season itself was good, I feel like lots of more people at the time were like, oh, this season is bad, this season is taking too long because they extended it twice or something like that. And now people are saying that it's very good. I barely see people mentioning the fact that it was very long. Chapter 3 Season 3. I've seen a lot more people like it ever since people found out that that was the last season that Donald Mustard worked on, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is a common thing I'm kind of seeing, that lots of people are liking the older seasons that they claim that they didn't like at the time or something like that, which I feel like a lot of people, they don't really appreciate the season that they're in. Even if they don't like it, I feel like there is some things that there's still to be appreciative for. I didn't really like Chapter 4 Season 3, but I still tried to find a way to have fun with it. And whatever I did have fun with it. And Chapter 2 being the greatest chapter ever, debatable. But I feel like at Chapter 2, it definitely is a chapter that took a lot more risks than other chapters, I feel like. The first season to a risk it took is it tested with Chapter 2 Season 1. Are people okay with just getting a map and one gun for an entire season? Is that enough content for people? No. Do people like collaboration seasons like Marvel and all that? I think people were kind of mixed on it at the time, but now I see a lot more people liking the original Marvel season, so therefore people are starting to enjoy this season a little bit more. I did have some comments of people saying that it's kind of boring though. Chapter 2 Season 6 I didn't think was good. I still try to have fun with it, but I do feel like with Chapter 4 Season 3, they did kind of improve it a little bit. So is Chapter 2 the best chapter? Debatable. I would say it is one of my favorite chapters. I think they did it well, but that's just me. Fortnite OG was overrated in my opinion. From items not working how they used to in Chapter 1, like planes having a fuel meter, to a bunch of stuff unfinished in the files. It was all just a nostalgia trip. Well, I'm not saying it was bad, but what made Chapter 1 good was the quality touches like live events or packed updates, while OG was somewhat not completed before releasing. I'm gonna be honest, I never heard that one before. Very good. But anyway, do I think it was overrated? To an extent, yeah, I think it was overrated. Would Fortnite have died if it didn't have Fortnite OG? I feel like it still would have been okay, but it definitely didn't get a boost in players because of Fortnite OG, which goes to show how many people love Chapter 1. And yeah, I kind of don't like some of the nerfs that they did, like the planes having the fuel meter. Planes like are a shell of what they used to be back in Chapter 1, Season 7. They used to be overpowered and all that. Something I'm curious about, if we had those original planes, with the skill level that people are at now, do you think people still would have complained? Same thing for brutes. Do you think people would have still complained at the skill level that they're at now? To a bunch of stuff being unfinished, I do know that Chapter 1, that like this version of Fortnite OG right here, they actually didn't have the original assets for the Chapter 1 map, so this is a version that they kind of built from the ground up. So not everything was the exact same as from Chapter 1. There were some subtle differences, but that was to be expected. I do remember making a poll asking people if people liked Chapter 1 or Fortnite OG. I think most people picked Chapter 1, which is kind of be expected. But yeah, I can see why you think this. Me, I do think that Fortnite OG, so many people liked it, obviously, but it wasn't the exact same as Chapter 1, but that's okay though, that's okay. The pump action shotgun isn't that good because of the delay when pulling it out. Scars are bad too because of the bloom. Here's another. Hammer assault rifles are the best AR in the game except for overclocked pulse rifles. The pulse rifle in general I do really like and all that. It's basically like the Stark Industries rifles. The ones that we got in Chapter 5 Season 4 right now are kind of a shell of what they once were back in Chapter 2 Season 4. Hammer assault rifles are okay. The pump action shotgun, the pump shotgun I should say, but yeah, that shotgun, I still think enough people like it, but as to why Epic doesn't want to bring it back, I don't know. Even if it's nerfed, even if it does 1 damage, I feel like everybody's still gonna want it back. So it doesn't really matter how bad it is because it's OG, people are gonna like it. Same thing for scars and all that. I don't think people care too much about the bloom because, well, people like scars. And plus, I'd imagine it's enough to where, like, people don't really mind the bloom, I'd imagine. But that's what I think. Chapter 1 is the worst chapter with a 6 out of 10, and Chapter 5 is the best at 10 out of 10. I think the thing with Chapter 1 as to why so many people like it, not only nostalgia, but also the fact that this was also a time where people weren't very good and all that stuff. Because people are good at the game now and all that stuff, I feel like it's a very different environment than what it was back then. Chapter 5 is the best? Chapter itself, it's done some cool things, but I do know that like a lot of people say this to this day that LEGO has ruined the item shop and all that. I love these modes. Rocket Racing is not my favorite, but I still think they did it well. Could use a little bit more, like a mini battle pass. LEGO, I think is great. Fortnite Festival, great. I do think Chapter 5 has its flaws. I feel like, I'm hoping that with Chapter 6 that Epic does learn from some of their mistakes with Chapter 5. The UI is just not very good. But if you like this stuff, I'm not gonna judge you. I respect it. Absolute Doom is the worst season this chapter, and I'd rather play Wilds than this trash. I've had some comments of people saying that the season's a little bit boring and not as good as compared to the original Marvel season, but I haven't heard anybody say it's bad. This is the first time I'm kind of hearing of it, but then again, maybe I'm just not on Twitter too much. But the season being bad, no. I will admit that it's a little bit less, it doesn't have as much as like, so I'm gonna have to use Chapter 5 Season 3, one of the more controversial seasons. No matter how you feel about it, I don't think anybody can deny that that was still jam-packed with a lot of content. This one isn't, Absolute Doom is not as jam-packed. I still think it does some things right, though. Better than some of the other seasons that we've had before. So to say it's trash, it's a little far-fetched if you ask me. Fortnite Festival should never have been made. It's just a way for Fortnite item shop to sell more things that no one will use and waste people's money. No one will use the instruments nearly as much as a skin, pickaxe, or anything that Fortnite is actually relatively known for, but it exists because Festival exists. So the only way to fix it is for Festival to have never existed. Like I said earlier in the video, I heard more people saying Lego kind of ruined Fortnite, not so much Festival. However, I will give you this, by the way. I'm gonna use the Iron Man Mark 45 as an example for this. I actually saw people pointing out that, like, if this guy was before Fortnite Festival even existed, or if it wasn't there, he probably could have had a glider or an emote, but Epic chose a instrument instead of those. In that sense, I see what you mean. I don't think it should have never existed. I'm glad it does exist. When it comes to instruments, the only solution I can really think of is make it to where they can be used as a backbling and a pickaxe. So now people who play Battle Royale can now actually have a reason to want to use instruments. In Fortnite Festival itself, it's because of the way it is and all that, because the camera's constantly moving and because you're, looking at the notes, playing them and all that, you're not really looking at the instrument very much. Battle Royale kind of did do something with this by making it to where you have these festival emotes that show and change depending on what instrument you have equipped. That is a solution, but again, like I said, I think it would be better if we have these as backblings and pickaxes. So I don't think that Fortnite Festival shouldn't have never existed. I don't agree with that, but I see why you believe this. Chapter 5 Season 2 is the best season in Chapter 5. That's an interesting one right there. I've heard some people saying that they like Season 2. Some people no. The common thing that I heard before Season 2 came, when we knew that we were getting a Greek God season, it was that this season had the potential to rival the Marvel season by having a lot of these God powers and all that. And unlike the Marvel season, this one isn't technically a collab, so the Epic shouldn't really have too much holding them back, right? Nope, that's not really what happened here. We barely got that many mythics and all that. I think there was like a fire axe or hammer or something like that, but we didn't get that for some reason. I saw people complaining that Ares should have been the secret skin instead of Korra, but does she have anything to do with Greek stuff? I'd imagine no, but then again, I don't know Avatar very much. I don't want to say that Season 2 is the worst season, but I don't want to say it's the best season either. It could have done better, but I think they did it okay though. And a small little thing that I really like is the Zeus's the Thunderbolt, because more of like the idea of it, we don't have too many mythics in creative that are like a superpower. More of them are just like guns and all that stuff. And now we finally have one that's like a unique one in creative that we can have access to forever, which that I am happy about for Season 2. The one thing I also will say is because it's themed around this Greek stuff, like the mythics, I barely see much of a reason as to, I feel like Epic probably isn't going to bring these back very much. Just a little bit sad, but I think that's probably how it's. The new Marvel weapons are too OP. Not sure if they nerfed them recently. Oh yeah, they have. They nerfed the jetpack to the ground. To the point where, using it normally doesn't exactly work as good as it used to. I know people do that little dash thing with the jetpack. I believe that still kind of works to an extent, I think. Not as well as it did before, but it's better than how the jetpack was originally used. Captain America's shield, I know they nerfed that also with how close you have to hit in the shield and all that for it to bounce off and hit the people and all that. Iron Man's repulsors, I believe they did nerf that too on how close you have to aim for it to lock on. I saw people pointing this out in Chapter 5 Season 3 that they're probably going to nerf these mythics and all that because of people complaining about them, which I saw this happening also. I don't think they nerfed the original Marvel mythics back in Chapter 2 Season 4. I don't think too many people complained about it back then. As to what the issue is now, not sure. Jam tracks should come with emotes, or just be free from quests. With the Deep Explorer emote, I do know they released a bundle to where they're kind of released together with the emote and all that. Jam tracks, though, I believe they weren't too expensive at the time when they first came out, but then they did kind of improve them by making it to where you can use them as lobby tracks. The only thing I'll really say about jam tracks is, so if you don't know, by the way, there is a bug where, so if I have the copyrighted music turned off, I have that setting muted, right? If I play, let's say, the Brace for Chaos music pack, I can listen to it just fine. If I listen to a copyrighted song, like the Kid Leroy music packs, it mutes them. But now let's say I use the Brace for Chaos jam track and I have the stuff muted. Yeah, it will mute that too, as if the music was copyrighted, which is a small little thing I don't really like, which I hope they can fix it, but who knows. And that's kind of it though. There is technically one more, but it's just the opposite of what somebody else already said, saying that Chapter 5 Season 2 is the worst season, but I already talked on that a little bit. This video, I actually did really like some of the opinions that we had. These ones were actually really good. Sorry that this video did take a little bit though. I had a few other videos that I really wanted to get to working on, and some of the stuff that I have going on in my life and all that. Working. You get the idea. But hopefully you guys enjoyed though. If you did, let me know with a like. Comment down below what you thought about this video so far and the opinions. If you'd like to support me in the Fortnite item shop, consider using code RageQuickGod. And I'll see y'all around.